Okay, so I'd like to welcome everyone to the Simon Fairfield Public Library Trustees agenda and meeting for Tuesday, June 23rd, 2020 at 4 p.m. We do have a quorum, so we will move on to minutes from our last meeting. Has everyone had a chance to?
Yes.
Are we good? All right. Has everyone had a chance to read the minutes?
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do we have corrections, questions, anything else about them? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes from our main meeting as written.
So moved. All
right, a second?
Second.
All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting the minutes, say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstained? All right, minutes have been approved unanimously. So, moving on to our financial report.
Just give me 2 seconds here. Whenever I started recording the meeting, it said that my storage was almost full, so I'm trying to delete an old meeting so that we can... how do I do this? This is not the most user-friendly of platforms.
Well, is it free?
It's free. That's the thing.
That's part of it.
Okay, there we go. That gives me a delete this file. Yes. That'll free up enough space, I think. Okay, so finance report. Let me get back to the right screen here. Can everybody see?
Yes.
Okay, so operational allocation, we've got $1,520.58 left. Personnel allocation, we've got $6,634.80 left. This indicates we are pretty much done with the fiscal year 2020. There's enough left in the operational and personnel accounts to see us through to the end of the fiscal year in terms of payroll, utilities, and monthly cost per circ costs, but I'm not buying any more books. I'm not doing any more projects. We're done. We're just waiting for the last invoices to come in. One bit of good news is that the expense of the plexiglass barrier that we put around the circulation desk, that was $1,750.47, has already been transferred to a different account because the town got some funding from the CARES Act grant. So that did not have to come out of our operational budget, which meant I got to spend that much more on books. I also spent what was allocated from the remainder of the Library Incentive and Municipal Equalization Grant. A few meetings ago, we had talked about, I can augment the budget with $2,000 to cover stuff. And so I did that, and I also spent the remainder of what was allocated from the revolving account for this fiscal year. There hasn't been a lot of movement otherwise. We're still ahead this year than where we started. We started the year with just over 99,000, and we're ending the year with just shy of 109,000. So that's good, I think. I mean, it'd be nice if it was 400,000 increase, but no, it's not. But baby steps.
Exactly. Yep.
Any questions about what is past before we go into the future?
I think I am good.
I have a space before my comma there. That is not okay. All right. Starting in July, we start a month-to-month budgeting process, which is going to be a big pain. But it's assuming that we will get an appropriation at the annual town meeting, which isn't going to happen until September, that's in line with what we approved at the last meeting. That was Matt's suggestion that we keep the same personnel schedule with steps but no cost of living increases, and an operational budget that is 2.5% reduced from our original request. So next year we'll still have a budget increase, but it won't be increase by nearly what we were expecting.
Okay.
But since we're doing this month to month, it means that basically at the end of every month, we have to do the same kind of procedures that we normally do at the end of every fiscal year, because we can't do like encumbrances from one month to the next. So like every month I've got, that degree of my budget, basically, 1/12 of next year's budget.
Right.
And then if I spend more, I have to flag it. And I've already flagged, Matt, that, I need more in July because CWRs is due in July. And if we're going to do, some of the capital projects that are, upcoming on the agenda, it should happen in July. But mainly it's the CWMRs. I mean, CWMRs is a huge part of our operational budget. It's like almost $8,000. And so that's throws off that 1/12 number a lot. So I've got to front load the month-to-month budget request. So I'm asking for more in July, and then change the math up until we have a town meeting. And then at town meeting, it should be business as usual for the rest of the fiscal year. But getting to that point is kind of going to be an adventure.
Right. It's month to month.
Yep.
Yeah. I lived through it. being paid through a grant program for 20 years. I worked through that almost every year, where you do a month at a time until it's approved. So that just seems, it sounds good to me. Other comments or questions? I don't think there's anything we can...
Yeah, it doesn't sound good to me, but there's nothing I can do about it.
Exactly. I understand. We're in a position that I don't think anyone's been in, ever. So...
Can we move on to director's report, or?
Yep. Yes, I'm good. I'm reading. I thought we were fine with that. Yeah, I'm looking at that. I see a huge, which makes a lot of sense, uptick in digital loans, which shows that we really need to invest in that. As someone who's on an 8-week waiting list for 2 different books that are 20 years old and 50 years old,
sometimes those are the worst, because, like 20-year-old, 50-year-old books, there's a word for those in publishing lingo, and I don't remember what it is, but, basically it's like books that no one's thinking about anymore, so no one's, involved in...
No, you know what it is? It's a revived interest in these books, and everyone's thinking about them.
Yeah, but from the publishing...
I read Little Women. As an audio ebook, Little Women. Now I'd never read it before.
Oh, I read that when I was a kid.
I didn't.
It's a great book.
I didn't like it as much as the movie, to tell you the truth.
I never watched the movie.
And the movie's the reason it's generated interest, and they've made it a cost per circ available.
Okay, I'll tell you my guilty pleasure is I'm looking at, I'm going through the Outlander series.
Oh, yeah?
I'm looking for book 5.
Have you ever used...
You time for this.
Well, what I'm looking for is our next book group is Toni Morrison's Home.
Ooh.
And I had it. It said it was available, and I said, I have a couple of days before I have to download this. And so then when I was ready to download it, it had gone, and now it says that I'm on a hold for 12 more weeks for it, and that I'm first on the wait list. So how does somebody else get in on this? And if I'm first on the wait list and I have to wait 12 weeks, isn't it checked out for 2 weeks or 4 weeks at the most? Do you know?
I think it's 3 weeks.
Well, 2 weeks on
21
right, 3
days
weeks is
the
the most.
Oh, who's the author again? I'm sorry.
Toni Morrison. You bought a copy. It said your library bought an extra copy or something like that. I haven't looked within the last hour of where I am on the wait list.
But you're not obsessed with it, right, Ellie?
Absolutely not.
Let's see, that was Sandcastle Girls, greatest book club ever, summer reading. Did I not put it on the calendar yet?
What? Oh.
Well, I sent it out to all the intrepid readers. So.
Writers. Okay, home. Morri. Oh, and it's Tony with an I.
Yeah.
That's why I can't find it.
Don't you know?
Oh, Tony Morrison. See, I bought...
This one down here.
Sure.
Okay, so I could buy a 12-month license for $27.50 or a 24-month license for $55. I own it in cost per circ. So I was hoping everyone would be able to get it in the cost per circ.
Yeah, but I'm doing the e-audio, and it said that you had bought an e-audio of it.
You know, I might also have that as cost per circ. The problem is our cost per circ budget for July is gone.
Well, for June, as long as I get it before July 14th, or
yeah, you'll probably get it on July 1st.
7th or something like that, then I'm happy dappy.
Where is the... See, there's home, Morrison.
Anybody else have anything that
maybe it's not available as one copy, one use. Maybe it's only available in CPC.
Well, another book that I had put on hold, the same thing sort of happened. It went, or I said, okay, I'll wait for a week or two before I get it, and then it said that I was going to wait 6 weeks, and then I got it.
Right, you never know.
Yeah.
The cost per circ is weird because it'll show it as available when you're looking at it, but if we've exceeded our monthly budget cap, then whenever you go to try to check it out, then it will tell you what's unavailable and say that you have to wait for so long.
Yeah.
But the budget resets every at the end of every month, and I actually had to reduce our cost per circ budget for July, or else we were going to go over budget, and we can't do that.
Right. All right, that makes sense.
Well,
yeah. So like we spent
closer to the day. I'm confident that everything will work itself out.
Yeah, I had $600 and $400 allocated for ebook and audiobook respectively, and we went over that on ebook. So I don't know what we've spent on ebooks quite yet, but it's more than $400. And audiobooks, we have a budget of $300, and we have $3.50 left for the month.
Oh.
And that is probably more than $3.50, which is why it's not checking out to you until July 1st.
Yeah, you know what else, though? It's Toni Morrison is big right now as the Black Lives Matter. And so then it's had that report or a note from C.W. Morris saying, oh, well, we're going to be buying lots of these not Toni Morrison, but lots of the Black Lives Matter type books because it matters. And in the e-book and e-audio form. So I thought, oh, well, it should pop up quickly too if they're going to jump into the to everything as well. But so I think I will get it, but we'll see.
Well, if you don't get it on July 1st, then give me a call.
Okay, will do.
Okay.
Where were we at?
We digress.
The director's report. Yeah, e-search is way up. Everything else is obviously way down.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And so how is that working with, you didn't do deliveries last week.
No, I did do deliveries last week. I'm not doing them this week.
Oh, it's this week. Okay. And that's still going okay?
It is. Last week I delivered to 27 addresses, delivered about 3 bins. I didn't count out how many things I was delivering. But yeah, delivery's been a big success so far, I think. I mean, if you look at these numbers for May, they're not impressive by any stretch of the imagination, but I delivered all those. So
right, exactly. No, that's I think it's impressive. I really do.
Yes, it definitely is.
They had a news story on a few weeks ago about the big thing about the Boston Library moving forward with opening procedures. And they were like copycatting everything that you had been doing for the last 2 weeks. So I was like, wait a minute. Let's talk about Douglas here.
Yeah.
Douglas, the forefront of technological innovation in library science. I'm hoping, and this goes to reopening, that we can ramp up services soon. We're currently offering Tuesday pickups from noon to 7 and Thursday deliveries. But July, I'm going to be back from vacation on June 29th. And at that point, I kind of want to really get the ball rolling. I want to get the staff back on site to normal schedules. I want to get parking lot pickup during all of our normal hours. And, I don't want to be the first library to reopen for search desk service, but I don't want to be the last either. Technically, according to the phase that we're in, set out by the governor, we're allowed to have patrons come in, but they can only come to the search desk and receive materials that are already checked out to them and leave, which is pointless. When we can just hand them to them out of their door. They can't browse, they can't do anything, they can't touch anything. We can't even have a conversation. All they can do is just come get their stuff and go. Which it's just as easy for them to ring the buzzer and take it out to them.
I'm getting confused with all of the phases that we're in. Where are we looking at for people being able to actually come into the library and browse?
I have no idea. There's been no guidance on that yet. Any guidance for libraries has been, released in his announcements with the notes the day of. It's like, all right, we're going to start phase whatever this day.
I totally understand. And Massachusetts is recovering the best of any state right now. We've got the lowest rates happening, and I think our little bit of caution is paying off.
We have the lowest transmission rate. We're doing well compared to other places and other states. But the consensus among the library industry and professional crowd has been we're expecting it to get bad again. We're expecting a second wave as things reopen. But we can either stay closed until that happens, which there's no telling when. We could stay closed until there's a vaccine, which there's no telling when, or we could open up along with everything else and provide the same level of service with a more thoughtful mind to trying to prevent contagion spread. It's starting to kind of rub me the wrong way that people can go get their nails done and they can get their hair cut and they can go to restaurants, but they can't come to the library.
And I just was reading on one of the things that comes to us as trustees where they were saying that any of the materials that are used in the library, they said there were 5 different materials, whether it's, I'm sure it's paper, plastic, whatever else, that there's no risk at all of the COVID-19 virus being transmitted through it. And the least time, the most time would be 3 days. So if you're, I don't know. It's just,
That's why we're doing a 3-day quarantine of items and then trying to turn them around. The biggest danger.
Well, that's it. So you're going to wait until,
The biggest danger isn't from material to material spread. It's person to person spread whenever they're in the same space together, breathing recirculated air.
Right. It has to be like a warm body kind of thing.
When we do reopen, what we'll have to do, is I'm sure we'll have to limit the number of patrons in the building at a time, and we'll have to limit the amount of time a patron can spend in here so that we can get them out and get another patron in. I'm hoping we can do that within the next couple of weeks, mid-July, at least before the end of July. But, I've reached a point where as soon as new phases are announced and we can move forward, I want to. We've been cautious for a long time, and, I think it's time to, take advantage of offering services we can while we can in case things do, heat up again. And there's some things we're just not going to do. We're not going to be having any, summer reading programs for kids in the library this summer. We're just assuming no. It's all going to be virtual, and we're going to focus a lot more on getting reading tracking done and reaching out and, encouraging people to do stuff and get materials out to them rather than having on-site events. For most of our performers, we've managed to, have them, alter their cultural council grants where they're going to be doing some sort of online service for us.
Well, yeah, and that's something I wanted to bring that up as I put on my other hat for just a minute, that we've had some requests about, being paid the same fee for doing a virtual performance or whatever. My feeling is we need to make sure that we're in line with what the state is saying. And there's a webinar on Thursday afternoon for the Cultural Council. It kind of going over all these things. I don't, like people are passing things, in front of our desks saying, oh, is it okay if we do this? Is it okay if we do that? I just want to make sure it's all well and good. My feeling is that, personal feeling, is that if it's someone who's a performer who's going to do a 45, music sing-along, puppet, whatever, that can just be videoed and shared or live streamed or whatever, I'm all good with that. But I had a request today from someone who's like, okay, well, here's what I was going to do, and I just want to give them the materials and then give a very brief outline of what they should do with them. And I'm thinking, I don't think that's worth $350.
Was that from a library performer? Someone doing something in the library?
Yes, it is. I don't want to go on record as to who it is, okay?
Oh, no, that's fine, because, I've had a big, conversation with her because, she was initially offering, she was supposed to come to a puppet show, basically.
Yep.
And a craft. And when the pandemic happened, what she offered instead was, well, instead of doing a puppet show, I'll send you out, 30 to 40 kits, which you can distribute to kids so that they can use to make their own puppet show. And, that's kind of their crafty thing. And I was looking at it, like, no, that's not what we originally intended for you to.
All right, we're on the record. I don't know if we should discuss it. But it is the same proposal she's giving to the Cultural Council.
Well, what I told her is I would support
something that's
her as long as she gives us a video component that we can integrate into it where she, because like the whole point of our summer reading performers is that it's like the 10:30 Wednesday morning backbone of the summer reading program. Like that's, 10:30, there's something that the library is doing.
Exactly.
Come to the library and do it. And this year it's going to be tune in and do it. And so, I kind of like the idea of, sending out the puppet show, crafty kind of thing, theater thing. But, I wanted there to be something that I could do at 10:30 on Wednesday morning. I didn't want it to be just something I'm running out to kids' houses and say, hey, do this on your own.
Right.
Which
right,
is
exactly.
why she worked in the rest of it, and
Exactly. Yeah, I hear you.
as long as she
Justin,
can give me something to do,
okay.
then
Justin,
I'm happy with it.
We'll have to deal with that. I'm going to attend that webinar on Thursday and get an understanding of what the state's allowing.
I would be curious to know how that goes.
And then the other thing is, though, that we still have to adhere to Douglas, the town of Douglas, because sometimes Douglas is a little bit stricter with defining what's, billable expenses.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to hold off on that, and we'll be good.
That's fair.
We should be good.
I'm curious as to what the state says, because most library directors have continued paying performers their initial rate, which seems a little disingenuous to me since they're capable of pre-recording something, sharing it with a dozen libraries, and not having to go anywhere.
Yeah.
But, I guess this is a learning year, so next year maybe we can write contingencies into our grant things.
We'll see what happens. All right. So, all right, moving on.
I don't have anything for other. Oh, delivery resumed as of yesterday.
Okay.
We got 3 bins, and we actually got 2 bins today. And I was looking at the schedule because I thought we were just going to get delivery one day a week, but we're actually on a different route every day. So, like, we're on Central 2 on Mondays, and Central 3 on Tuesdays, and Central 1 on Thursdays. That's why I missed that. So we should actually start getting a delivery every day that we're open, except for Saturdays. But the libraries are not at the same place where the MLS is at this point. So a lot, I think like 60% of CWMAR's libraries are accepting deliveries, but almost nobody is filling holds right now for anyone else. So like what we're getting right now is the backlog of holds and things that were, placed before the lockdown. So, I mean, these things have been sitting in the Optima warehouse for forever.
So you're talking holds of actual books?
Yes.
Books. Yeah. Okay.
And,
that's crazy. I mean, there's going to be an explosion when that opens up.
So right now they're just trying to clear out their facilities and clear out the backlog. Most libraries aren't processing outgoing yet. They're just processing ingoing, and we'll just kind of see where it goes from there.
Okay.
And that's really all I have in terms of that, is just kind of see where it goes from there. Because, I mean, I could start filling ILLs for other libraries, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense if the other libraries don't start filling ILLs for us too. I would kind of like to jump the gun and get that going sooner, because the more libraries get on the bandwagon, the more pressure there will be for those who aren't on the bandwagon to get on, and we can get back to normal quicker.
Hear, hear. I think that's great.
I agree. You're always the leader, Justin. Come on. You can do it.
Oh, I just don't want to send out a whole bunch of our materials and then have them end up stuck in transit for forever.
That's what I'm thinking, is just saying it.
But that's like the gamble, I guess, of...
I think I would hold off until you're sure that other libraries are, I would say, fully staffed.
I don't want to hold off too long. And I don't know about other libraries and what they're doing either. Because, I mean, there's a lot of libraries in CWMARS where 90% of the staff is over 60. And, they're talking about, we don't want to come back to work until there's a vaccine. We don't, and it's just, like, I don't know where a lot of libraries are going to be going. But, I think we're never going to be able to guarantee a 100% safe environment for anybody. And at some point, you just have to come to terms that, people are paying for this service. It's here.
Right.
And you kind of have to crap or get off the pot.
Okay. That's the professional term. So, Do we have other under COVID?
I don't have any others.
All right. You've had enough, Justin.
I've had enough.
All right. Under old business, building projects.
I don't think the building subcommittee has anything new to report.
No.
Yep.
In terms of the electrical system reserve transfer, the reserve transfer fund is not going to happen. Gene had to exhaust this year's reserve fund for, bolstering operational stuff because of COVID. Next year, they're not going to be doing reserve fund transfers for capital, so I've heard, and the capital budget's basically frozen. We're already going to have an article on the town warrant, which we can get to when we get to new business water damage. In the grand scheme of things, this isn't a lot. In order to be code compliant, the library needs to install 12 receptacle floor covers, 11 tamper-resistant covers, remove extension cords, operating lights, rewire the basement emergency light, and add 2 receptacles near the front entrance so extension cords aren't running around corners. Jeff Grenier quoted this at $1,200. Since a reserve fund isn't likely, and since we already have an article on the town warrant, I would recommend that we just use FY21 operational funds for this come July, and then that will help bolster our case in the future that, hey, the town needs to integrate, building maintenance into our operational budget.
That sounds logical.
I understand that. It just rubs me the wrong way. I know. But we got to do what we got to do. I just feel that it's a town building. The town has us in a position where they can say, the leaders in the town can say, sorry, but we're going to defund the library. You're going to be closed. But on the other, that they take that authority. But on the other hand, the town says, oh, it's up to you to maintain the building as viable. I just have a hard time with it.
Well, I think a lot of that is kind of a crisis of our own making. At least it's a crisis, I consider a crisis of my own making, because until the override passed, I spent every year trying to, keep our operational budget as low as I possibly could and just ask for more. And so just took it for granted that any building repairs or maintenance was going to come out of grants. Right. And now we're trying to transfer that back to the town. And, the ideal vehicle for this would have been, for it to be a capital project or bundled in with a bigger capital project, or
right.
to come out of a reserve fund transfer. But since, we're facing the biggest financial crisis since the 1970s, it's not going to happen. So if we can cover it out of our operations, then, that'll just add to that figure, which Matt can roll into his projections for the following years, saying, okay, this is what they spent on building maintenance last year. Because right now, if he looks back over the past, since I became the director, what we've spent on the building in terms of, building improvement, maintenance, these kinds of projects has been zero, because we've always just funded it ourselves.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Right. I understand it. I hear you, and I understand it, and
a lot of the other departments have this kinds of thing, like emergency repairs and maintenance, built into their operational budget.
Yep.
And I think in the future it would be wise for us to start doing that too.
Yeah.
And instead of using grant money or building donation money for this kind of stuff,
right.
My recommendation moving forward would be to use our operational money for this kind of stuff, and then use our grant money to shore up if we're going to fall below the materials expenditure requirements
right.
by the state.
Right. I totally agree.
Because the town is not going to care so much if we say, well, look how much tax money we spent on books, and we used private money to take care of the building. But if they're having to use our operational money to take care of the building, so then we have to use our private money for books,
yep.
It might turn a few more heads.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I think that's what we have to do.
I would still keep the, with the town paying the book budget or materials budget as well as the building maintenance. I think they should be responsible for both of those items and the operational expenses of running a building. And
Right.
The last resort is using those the LIG MEG money, I think, for the book budget, because you need it for other stuff too. So I just I would not depend on LIG MEG, for materials budget. I would really try to keep that for the town to pay for.
I agree. I don't want to either. I would rather, if there's an unforeseen circumstance, though, I would rather depend on LIG MEG for book budget than I would depend on building donations budget for maintenance and repair. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But still,
because the last thing I want to do is have to go outside and roll that fundraising sign backwards.
Which we did. We had $25,000 in there, and we spent a bunch of it. That was originally for the building renovation, but we put in the carpet. We did this, we did that, and so it has gone away. Mm-hmm. And I think initially, when you were first on board as a first-time library director, you felt strongly that you should get rid of these extra accounts. And I think that you were influenced by the town financial advisor not to have these accounts kicking around. And I disagree with her on that point. So, but I think you've come around to embracing all of our thinking, not just town side.
Mm-hmm. And I think it just depends on the accounts too.
I agree, Justin. I think it tears me up to see that we dip into that, which we've done so many times, dip into that building fund to put Band-Aids on the building.
Right.
And we're in a radically different position now than we were whenever the threat of defunding was over us every single year. Because, I think that threat is pretty much gone. And, town administration, the Board of Selectmen know that they have the library to thank for the fact that, we're able to weather this COVID crisis without having to lay off a quarter of the town employees. We're not facing a situation nearly as dire as they are, and, a lot of surrounding towns, and who's to thank for that? The library. Mm-hmm. And if they try to, punitively, if the library becomes a chip in, trying to balance the budget, something to take off the table, it won't fly. It wouldn't fly at town meeting. It wouldn't fly at the ballot, and I think that they're all cognizant of that.
I hope so.
You're right.
If they're not, then I've made it. I've done my best to make them cognizant.
Well, no, you have.
Certainly have.
And without being confrontational about it. But in a lot of ways, it's not even in my power. If they tried to defund the library, all the Vote Yes committee people are just there. They're just waiting. They're waiting for that to happen, and they won't let it.
All right, so I'm ready to move on.
Okay.
I have no progress on the hot water heater and nothing on other.
All right. Capital campaign.
There's $531.58 incoming from my Aunt Kathy in Houston.
Oh, Kathy.
Wonderful.
Nice.
We'll
Unfortunately, it's because she's been laid off. And they're closing out that fund because the company that she worked for contributed to the fund, and then every year they could designate what nonprofit they wanted to send it to.
Oh, wow.
But because of, things being the way they are, they've restructured. She's taken a settlement package and is retiring, and that will be the last disbursement from that.
Oh, that's too bad. But that's thoughtful of her for.
It is.
And thoughtful of you, Justin, too. So letting her know about the library.
Justin, if you can email me her name and address, I'll send a thank you note. Or Ellie?
I will. I'm going to wait till I actually get the check before I do that.
Sounds like a true family member.
Once that happens, then, I'll send you her contact information. I'll send her a thank you as well. Invite her up to stay and escape the heat of Houston.
Okay. Moving on to LRP updates.
I don't really have any long-range plan updates.
All right. How about Friends?
Friends, we had a virtual meeting a few weeks ago, didn't we?
Last Saturday.
Was it last Saturday? So
well,
soon?
The Saturday before this, it was the 13th. It was June 13th.
Okay, and which was pretty good. People were excited about the auction that we're thinking of having, and I think that will bring in a good $10,000 to $15,000. The initial one, even if we do one virtually, and we're going to have a meeting, I think, beginning of August again. They would like to have it at the library, hopefully. Since if it would only be us, that would be fine, I would think. Just because they don't like to have these virtual meetings.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Anything I do moving forward, I'll have to clear with the Board of Health.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
so they're kind of calling the shots.
Allow that till at least September. I'm thinking. Just my thought. I don't know.
Well, we'll
want to show off the library though, because Gail's made it look awesome.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it.
No.
I think that auction is an awesome idea. There's so many ways that people can contribute to that.
Yeah, and the Touchstone Community School that had it recently, they had a virtual one, and they've been doing it for years, an auction. But their goal was to raise like $25,000, and because it was virtual and you're not in a place that serves alcohol, pumping up the bids on items, they did pretty well. They got like almost $14,000 in their virtual bid. I had donated them 2 half legs of lamb, and I know that they got, the last time I looked, it had gotten a bid of $175 for it.
Oh my
2 half legs
goodness.
of lamb. And
Wow.
that's great, But so I think it might. I mean, if we can get things like local places like the Beagle Club or the
businesses like the Grill on Main,
yeah,
the Picket Fence.
Right, all of those ones, and gift certificates or whatever, and the what's the golf place called? I can't remember that. The golf course.
Yeah, I don't know the name of it. Isn't it Douglas? It's at
Blissful Meadows.
Yeah.
What is it? Right.
Blissful Meadows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Things like that, and rental houses. My house up in Vermont, and asking Lori Church if she'd give a cabin for a few days or something like that on the reservoir, or if other people have facilities like that they could could give is, those things, and put a minimum bid on it
Right.
as well. But so there, I think it could raise quite a bit of dough, and so we're
I
thinking.
think so.
We were thinking too that it probably would work best after school begins, because there will be, even though school, who knows what's going to happen with schools, but as long as families have expenses at the beginning of school time, so wait until the end of September or beginning of October to have these have the auction. We have a website that we found.
And you know what? You know what else, Ellie? What's good about that time of year is that people could be bidding on things, looking at them as gifts for the holidays.
Right, that's true. Or you could have it. You could put a deadline on it. You have to use this if you're bidding on a vacation home or something like that. You have to use it within a year.
I think if it's something like that, I think that would be like an individual, somebody who's offering that can say what their restrictions are.
Yeah.
Say like somebody's offering a week in their cabin there at Wallace Cove, or a weekend or whatever. What are their restrictions? When does it have to happen? And blah, blah, blah. But I think that's awesome. I think it is just amazing.
Yeah. So anybody that has ideas for this, if Kate, if you have some extra chicken you want to donate, that'd be good. And
that's a good idea.
Yeah. But
dead or alive.
Like dead or alive. Exactly. We used to do that at the Touchstone auction. We'd donate every year a lamb, dead or alive.
Ellie, you said, I think I saw in one of your posts that there's someone who has done this before and can put together the website and all that, or the.
Oh well, yeah. Donna Metz mentioned that she has her own website, and she's into art, selling art and stuff. So she knows how to write something up that will make it attractive to buyers and stuff. So she was willing to help with that.
Right.
And then this software, which I can't remember.
Octria.
It's nonprofit auction or something like that, and they charge, I don't know, between about $100 or $200 to use their software for this whole auction bid. But it might take a lot off people's minds for just being cooped up for so long. Although I like
Absolutely.
Yeah, Octria basically does all the hard stuff for you. All you need is product descriptions and pictures.
Yeah, right. And that legs of lamb, they had this just gorgeous picture. I didn't send it in of this lamb, and I don't know whether they're expecting it all cooked and prepared. I gave them 2 frozen half legs of lamb. So that was it. That's all I had to do.
All right. So
that's the end of my report. But Danielle, you are part of this committee.
I know I am.
So whenever it is, the beginning of August, you can call in.
I definitely want to. Yeah. I don't know what I can do, but I'll help with something.
Yeah, because one of the people.
I don't have a lot here that I can donate.
Yeah, one of the people was really interested. She has a son, sort of the age of Justice's kids, who really, really, really wants to take a fire engine ride or a police car ride. So she's going to check with the police and fire department about that as being, part of the department's donating support for the library as well.
That's a good idea. That's a good way to reach across the aisle, as you might want to say.
Right, exactly.
Good idea, Ellie. I love it.
I've already canceled delivery for tomorrow, so we don't have to worry about that. Yes. Every normal day we're open. All right, sorry, trustees.
That's okay. I wasn't sure if I was supposed to be following something.
Oh, no.
Your cabin availability, and I'm like, what, tomorrow?
Oh, I forgot y'all can see my screen.
I can't go there tomorrow.
I was just looking at Wallace Cove. So, like, it'd be kind of nice to spend a
I
weekend.
know, it's nice.
Tonight's my wedding anniversary.
All right, well,
But
there
no, I
you
was
go.
talking
I think, she was booked solid.
But they're all
last
booked
time I
up
heard.
until forever.
Yeah,
she
so
said
you
she's
could
booked
do it.
solid.
All right, where are we? Are we other?
Friends.
Other? Okay, new business.
What it is? Every library's favorite thing. So we were having a staff meeting a couple weeks ago, and we noticed that in the southeast corner of the building, there's a big ugly spot, and it's growing. And I turned the air conditioners off for a couple days whenever the weather was nice, and you could smell it. It's definitely new. It's not old stuff that we've never noticed before. It's new, encroaching water damage. So Adam came with his guy from BuildMax, and we went up to the roof, which was a lot of fun, and we identified numerous bricks in the area that are crumbling. They need replaced and repointed, and there's a bunch of flashing repair that needs done up there. And he identified an area where they thought that was probably where the water's coming from, and fixing that is like, a $4,000 or $5,000 project. But $2,500 of that is renting a boom lift to get up there.
Wow.
And for,
we
just
could auction that off, the boom.
for another, like the quote for that was $4,000. The quote for fixing it all was like $8,000, I think, or $8,000 and change. And it makes sense to just rent the boom lift once and save $2,500 and go ahead and fix everything. And since BuildMax is also the people who would fix the concrete steps if they were doing that, that was originally going to be part of a capital request that we put forth.
Right.
But since that's not happening, Adam recommended bundling it into this article. So there will be an article on the fall town meeting warrant to approve $9,000 for library masonry repair. And we'll just hope for good weather until then and not a lot of driving, windy rain.
I hope it doesn't develop into a mold issue.
Well, so far it's been dry, and the two times that it spread were when we had those really, really bad storms.
Yeah,
which,
and that I think was it, and that was within the time period. So I think you're absolutely right that that's when it came. It hasn't been around for that long. I did peek at the outside of the library driving into the credit union, and did notice sort of holy bricks up there too. So everybody could take a peek at it from drive-by peek like that as well. It is it is apparent that it needs repair.
Yeah, we're overdue for brick repointing, because that was one of the things that was identified as a pretty critical need back whenever the original, back in the Van Voorhis drawings. That was part of his quote.
Oh, wow. What, of fixing that?
Mm-hmm.
So, again, it brings me back to how long has water been seeping into there?
I don't think long.
I don't think long. I think there's been two storms where it's come in, because, based on Adam's assessment, and it would take a pretty horizontal rain to actually do that. And, we had one, it was really bad storm the weekend before we had the staff meeting where we first noticed this, and that was in...
Was it beginning of June, end of May?
Rebecca, when did we have our first staff meeting? Was it June 2nd?
Yes.
Yeah, it was June 2nd, and it was the weekend before that we had that bad storm, and then we had another one a couple weeks later.
Yes. Yes.
And of course, now we would do anything for a drop of water outside, but
Yeah, it's so dry.
if we
Well-
don't get any more bad storms like that, it won't be an issue. And, you know, it'll be on the town warrant in September, and if it gets approved, it'll be like the first thing on Adam's agenda.
Okay.
Well,
Good.
can I make a motion that we support this $900 or $9,000 warrant item on the town meeting, fall town meeting, annual town meeting warrant?
So moved. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstained? All right. There we go. I'm just worried that this is the end. This is June. We're looking at 3 months. So let's hope it doesn't get.
I asked Adam if we could do something temporary, like putting a tarp up there or something, and he said that would not be advisable because if it blew off, then it would be in the middle of Main Street, and that would be a pretty big liability problem.
Oh, good Lord.
And I told him I think we can take care of the interior repairs once the exterior is fixed, because you know.
Gail's good at that.
Gail's good at that.
real good at that. My whole thing is mold. I just worry in older structures, once you get moisture in somewhere. I'm going to stay positive. We're going to be fine.
Well, I'm lucky that we have a mini split pretty much right there in the children's collections room. And if we do get another big driving rain, I can just set that one to dehydrate, or that's not the right word, dehumidify instead of air conditioner.
Okay.
And that should keep it from spreading to items. The only time that it was kind of muggy in here was the weekend that I decided just to turn everything off.
Okay. Yeah, so that air really helps.
They help.
Yeah. All right. All right. So we'll just keep our fingers crossed and wait till September. So moving on to the printer.
So we have two multi-function printer, faxer, scanner things. We had one that was upstairs until the duplex unit started making a ton of noise, and so we moved that one downstairs, and we bought a new one to put upstairs. And both of them get a lot of use. The upstairs one we use for, we use it for patron use. It's my printer. It's a circulation desk printer. Mm-hmm. And then the one downstairs gets used by Deb and Rebecca. And Deb prints out a lot of flyers for, summer reading and craft projects, coloring pages and things of that nature. And Rebecca uses it for the archive. And she also generates a surprising amount of paper. Yeah, I'm looking at you funny. But so there's... I just went ahead and replaced it. I bought an identical printer to the one that we have upstairs. It was $749.99, and since it's the same model, it'll use the same ink cartridges, which have proven to cost like 1/4 in the long term of maintaining as to the old printer. So that is good. But we do need the two printers. So I bought another one as soon as this one died. And I would ask that the trustees consider approving the expense for that out of library incentive grant money.
Okay. I think that's a very reasonable cost for a multifunctional printer. That's good. So I would entertain a motion to approve reimbursement or spending grant money. Approve grant money.
Or LIGMEG.
LIGMEG. Grant money for this.
I'll move that.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none. We have moved up unanimously.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Justin.
I know it seems a lot, and the printer was only 4 years old, but when you consider the amount of use and punishment we've put that thing through, by the time you go up to the next tier printer that is like the industrial officey type use printer, you're looking at like a $3,000-$4,000 machine.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes more sense to me to go through these cheaper machines than it does to spend a whole lot on a bigger one that you're going to have to pay the maintenance and stuff on.
Right. I hear you. All right. Any other new business?
I just have one small thing. This is Dawn. Justin, I don't think you saw this on Facebook when it tagged you in the Historical Society. I can't imagine that we're doing this, but there's an old photo of the library, which is really great. Maybe we could use it somewhere. And if I can, screen share, I can show it to you. But I don't know if I can.
I
with
have
bunting all across the top. Oh, he did send it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they want the library to redo that look for everybody who didn't see that with bunting at the top, and it's really pretty, but it's way high. I don't know how you access it. It's right along the. It's
to me, it shows that there's virtually been nothing done to the building in almost 100 years.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
So I don't.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, the Historical Commission is still working on a downtown district, and nothing has changed. There's so many. I mean, the library's not the only one. So many things haven't changed over the years.
Yeah, but that does not look like Dr. whatever his name is house next door.
The image is reverse flipped. It's like you're looking at a mirror.
Oh, okay.
So that's the pizza joint there?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
It took me a while to figure that out because I was like, "What the heck? What's that building over there? Where's this driveway going? And the tree's on the wrong side of the sidewalk."
Yeah. That's weird. Huh.
I think it's because they took it from a negative.
Maybe. Yeah. Interesting.
Oh, the windows. That's what tipped me off. I was like, we do not have that many windows facing Joe. We have a radically different number of windows on either side of our building. Because on one side we have 2 big ones, and on the other side we have a whole bunch of narrow ones.
Because I was looking at it, and I couldn't figure out why it didn't seem right to me, but that's what it was. That's exactly what it was. Yeah.
But no, I don't see us putting that much bunting back on the library.
No,
We'll see, Justin. There could be a day.
Yeah, Justin, you have experience going on the roof, so you can now go up on the roof and hang the bunting.
Well, there's a pretty significant distance between where the balls are on top versus where those buntings are hanging from.
Yeah.
The brick guy kept on leaning over to look down at that, and Adam was just sucking air through his teeth, don't do that, don't know.
Splat. Wow. All right.
Okay.
So, are we ready to adjourn?
Yes.
I'm ready.
Okay.
I think so.
All right, last chance.
July 28th. Just the next meeting is still, are we thinking still the same, right? 4 o'clock virtual? Or 7?
I would say this at this point, I don't know, but I'm not thinking that things are going to open up totally within the next month.
I can keep you
Town
apprised.
hall is in any
I don't
hurry.
know.
What'd you say, Kate?
It doesn't sound like town hall is in any hurry to reopen, so.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't think we need to be in a hurry for things like this that we can do on the phone.
I'd like to say, how long can we keep having meetings like this?
I like them.
Mm-hmm.
I do, too.
I like being able to screen share.
Me too.
Yeah. I think it goes, I think we're using our time wisely instead of I don't know how to describe it, but like you say, Justin, you're putting things up for us to see. We're discussing exactly, what you're highlighting and things like that. So I like doing it. And another thing is, it's handicap accessible.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So anyhow, moving forward, I would entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Aye.
Bye.
You don't have to stand up.
Bye.